A lot of people ask me what I think the phenomenon is. I don't have a confident answer. I've got some that I like, but for the purpose of this video, I want to keep it on a more kind of neutral track. I think we've been asking the wrong question. We spend too much time trying to answer what the phenomenon is that I think we've forgotten to ask what it does. Maybe it doesn't arrive to give us an answer. Maybe the phenomenon itself is less like an object and more like weather. And if that's true, then history starts looking different. If you zoom out, civilizations seem to breathe. They inhale diversity, they exhale order. They inhale mystery, they exhale doctrine. They oscillate like lungs, like tides, like a heart. If you zoom out, a lot of civilizations seem to oscillate between dynamic interpretations, many symbols, many traditions, dreams, omens, myths. Authority is distributed through that system, meanings of all. And then there's the canonical interpretation, which is there's one approved story, there's a fixed doctrine, centralized authority, stability, and scale. Heresy becomes a category. Neither is purely good nor bad. Dynamic systems generate creativity, generate adaptation, but also fragmentation. Canonical systems, they generate cohesion and continuity, but they also become super rigid. What's interesting about the modern world is that the internet has blown holes in centralized interpretation. AI, UFOs, anomalous experiences, memes, podcasts, global communication has put everyone in contact with everyone else's symbols. The result is something that feels a lot like a return to a pre-imperial kind of environment where multiple ontologies can coexist without exploding too much. Someone could imagine the phenomenon, whatever that means, as not demanding a specific explanation, but almost demanding participate, interpret, stay flexible. Don't confuse your map for the territory. In that view, danger isn't about being wrong about whether something is aliens, angels, plasma, unconscious archetypes, or information systems. Danger is prematurely freezing one interpretation into the only permissible reality. James Hillman once argued that psychology had become too literal and needed to return to the imaginal. And Jacques Vallée often speaks about the phenomenon changing mask throughout history. And one of my own personal favorites, Diogenes, in his own way, even spent much of his life poking holes in overconfident certainty. The funny thing is, if the phenomenon really is a trickster, then every camp that says, "we've solved it," might be exactly what it laughs at. And if you're sitting there with the blunt, perhaps the trickster leans over and says, "Good, keep dancing. Don't build a prison out of it." Because dynamic interpretation doesn't mean believing everything. It means remaining capable of being surprised. Maybe that's where we're headed. Not back to ancient times, not back to superstition, not toward one world religion, not towards one scientific orthodoxy, but something stranger. A civilization where billions of minds participate in meaning making simultaneously. A civilization where symbols are alive again, where authority is more distributed, where people compare notes instead of kneeling automatically, where AI becomes less like an oracle and more like a mirror, where mystery isn't a problem to be eliminated, but an environment to be navigated responsibly. Because every empire mistakes its map for reality. Every church, every ideology, every movement, every skeptic, every believer, eventually everybody says, "You've got it now." And history smiles. Because history has heard that before. Maybe the trickster isn't trying to fool us. Maybe it's trying to keep us from becoming idols to ourselves. Maybe the phenomenon isn't demanding belief. Maybe it's demanding our participation. It's not about certainty, it's not about surrender, it's not about dogma, it's just about your participation. To just stay curious, stay humble, keep dancing, but don't dance your way into a prison.